The best way you can support me is with a simple subscribe. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Mr. TALIAFERRO TV, how's everybody doing? All right, so Meek Mill did do an interview. It's not with the outlets you would think of. He did do an interview with DJ Scream. I thought it was a pretty decent interview. DJ Scream did a decent to good job of getting something out of Meek Mill without going too far. I think other news outlets would have got a little deeper, but DJ Scream, you know, he's not the known guy for interviewing. He's known for a lot of other things. He's on radio, of course, and he's a DJ, obviously, but he's not really known for the interviews. So I heard this Meek Mill DJ Scream interview, and I was like, okay, this is pretty much what I expected. Not too personable, and Meek gave you a little bit, not as much as you want, but it's some stuff in it. Meek Mill, Against All Odds, his album comes out this week, as a matter of fact. Tomorrow night? Tomorrow night, Meek Mill's dropping his second, third studio album. I'm excited. I love Meek Mill's music. I really do rock with Meek Mill, the rapper. And I think Meek Mill gets the bad end of the stick because of his social media actions. The problem with Meek is, and Meek Mill watches a lot of YouTube content, by the way. I've been told Meek has checked out a video of mine before. So I know Meek Mill does watch a lot of YouTube content, so I ain't gonna take anything away from him. This video might get back to him. All right, that's pretty dope when you can talk about an artist, or you know, for good or for bad, and then they actually know who the hell you are or have watched some of your content before. I think that's pretty dope to me. Anyways, Meek Mill, the problem with Meek is his words that he says in actual real life don't equal up to what he does on social media. I just think the brother is misunderstood and does a lot of corny stuff on social media. If I were to meet Meek and we do an interview or just chop it up, I think he'd be somebody that I get along with perfectly. I respect everything the brother stands for. I'm talking about the kids, trying to get these kids out of the street, but still letting them know the real. And if you're going to do the street life, you got to know that thing ain't going to end well. Like, I rock with Meek in that. The problem with Meek is, ever since Instagram came around, he started doing stuff that is kind of uncharacteristic. It started with the Twitter figures comment, then the Wale thing happened, and it's been all down ever since. Ever since his beef with Drake, it's been all down on social media ever since. I just think that Meek is somebody that his team needs to run his social media account, and he probably needs to stay away from it. I think things would go better for him, and who knows? Maybe he doesn't make an album like Against All Odds because there are not a lot of odds against Meek at this point if he doesn't diss Drake. But speaking of him dissing Drake, he did an interview talking about why he refuses to talk about Drake or Nicki Minaj breaking up with her or Beanie Sigel. He did an interview with DJ Scream about that, and this is what Meek Mill said about those situations and why he decides not to speak on them and interview or do a lot of interviews like he used to, because obviously he understands that if he did more interviews, his album sales would be better. His most successful album did 200,000 first week. What is it, like 230,000 the first week? And he did a few interviews that time. He obviously know Against All Odds is not going to do 230,000 first week, and this is kind of why he's kind of chosen to just give that up. I'm speaking on a lot of things. I haven't been doing a lot of interviews. Anything people want to hear me speak on, I'm doing it right here. I didn't want to do a lot of interviews and give it away. These are the things I need to talk about on my own. I never thought just because you're a rapper or known to people, you got to tell all your business. We was never really into that where I come from. That's kind of like breaking the code. Like, this ain't for everybody. I don't want to sell my soul just to sell my music. I don't want to take the easy way out. And he kind of went on to pretty much talk about how his music, he doesn't want to really speak on breakups or friendships and talk about his cousin, his moms. That ain't him to just sell music. If he got to do that, then that's kind of discrediting the years of work that Meek put into rapping. Would say 10-15 years of putting in the work to rapping. If you need headlines to sell albums, he's like, no, I put too much in the craft to do that. All right, I see a little bit of contradiction there. I do respect Meek for not wanting to speak on situations and interviews. I respect that. We'll talk about that in a second. But I do want Meek to understand a lot of what has happened in his life. I'm not saying he's perfect. None of us are, right? Nobody's perfect. And if Meek is watching this, of course, I'm not perfect either, right? He's the public figure. I'm not as public figure as him by far, right? So Meek Mill, I think the thing with Meek Mill he has to understand is a lot of the problems that he did put on himself. These are self-inflicted wounds. Like, nobody told you to go out and diss Drake. We never can forget that. Like, I always talk about this in my videos. It's not like Drake dissed Meek first. Meek was upset about Drake not writing his raps. You aired Drake out first. So I think Meek sometimes wants to play the victim role, but does he not realize that a lot of what has happened to him is because of what he's done? Now with the game situation, Meek ain't really come out and say anything about that. I don't know what behind the scenes Meek did or didn't do. Maybe he did snitch or talk to the police. I don't know. I wasn't there about that Sean Kingston situation. But I do know Meek tries to play victim role a lot. But the Drake situation, which is where a lot of people started trolling him over the last couple of years, that started with Meek. That was all Meek Mill. All right? That was nobody else. You were trying to bully Drake and it backfired on you. We can never forget that, right? So I just want to note that. But what Meek is saying is not wrong. I respect him for not airing out the Nicki Minaj situation or Beanie Sigel situation in public. He just got to stop doing it on social media. I respect him for not doing that in the public. He can keep that content for the music. That's what old celebrities used to do. Like, everybody doesn't have to do what this social media era tells you what you have to do. You don't have to be the guy to do a lot of interviews, to tweet out every 5 minutes. You don't have to be that guy if you keep it in the music. You see guys like Jay is not doing it. You see women like Beyonce, they're not doing it. They're keeping it in the music. And we hear a lot of stuff come out about their life. But when Jay has twins, you don't hear him get on Twitter and talk about the twins. You see him put it in the music and talk about what a special moment it is that his wife Beyonce had twins. When he got word about the elevator incident, you didn't see Beyonce go do an interview about Jay-Z. She kept it in the music. So I respect that. That's what celebrities used to do. They used to keep it in the music. That's why albums used to be so highly anticipated, because people would go buy music because they know, oh my gosh, Meek is going to talk about this, or, you know what I'm saying, Usher is going to talk about that. And now we put so much on social media, when the music comes around, nobody's excited for it because you tweet 20 times a day, you did 30,000 interviews. So I'm not upset at Meek for not wanting to do more interviews. I just don't like that he's playing victim role. A lot of what has happened to Meek was Meek's fault, nobody else's. And I hope this album does well. I'm hoping that this tour can come around in the fall. He talked about that as well with the interview. He said that they're going to just push it back into the fall and get some more content together and probably I think God is going to drop an album as well for the Against All Odds tour. But I think that what we're seeing here is Meek saying, look, if you want the exclusive from me, go get the album. Go listen to the project, and then you'll be able to hear more about what's going on with me. I do think Meek sometimes wants to be the victim, but a lot of what has happened to Meek is not the other person's fault. It's on Meek and what he puts out in the atmosphere. And if people dissect your messages the wrong way, then maybe you shouldn't say it on social media at all. Maybe you should just keep it in the music instead of becoming like a Twitter fingers, what Drake called him, on social media. Thank y'all for the time and the support. Meek addresses why he doesn't talk about people like Nicki, Beanie Sigel, and Drake in interviews. He says he's like keeping that content for the music. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We respect that. And I will be checking for Meek's album. Drops Thursday night at midnight. Pretty much Friday. Against All Odds, I will be checking for it. I think Meek lyrically is still one of the best doing it. There's not too many people who can still sell rap albums, and Meek Mill is one of them. He has something to say. I love Meek's albums. I just don't like everything else. And I think Meek can still be one of the biggest and have a huge impact on the culture if he could just get the other aspects of his life from social media together, and we just respect more of him, the artist. But I still think people should do interviews. That's just me. All right? Talk to me in the comment box below. I'm out.
I want to salute you, homie, you know, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
I got one life to live out my dreams, and I'm giving this thing all I got. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I represent the culture.
Right now you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty.